he is letting us really know him in the most intimate sense by sharing some of his attributes, some of his powers, and some of his duties. Because Allah took the duty of taking the physical existence all the way from the subatomic particles in the beginning up to Adam. Then he says to Adam, now, I'm going to turn some of that responsibility over to you. I breathed into you some of my attributes, some small number of my attributes in some small degree of power, and now I expect you to go ahead and use what I have given you to continue perfecting yourself and to continue my grand cosmic plan. The grand cosmic plan seems to be to achieve existence once again outside of space and time, but now as a being who has perfected itself by choice, so that Allah has a role for us out there. Now, I'm going to say this, although, and it certainly doesn't conflict with Islam, although it is not said in Islam. I think to myself, what kind of possible roles could Allah have for us out there? I mean, Allah can do anything. But for some reason, He seems to want to have somebody to the way we put it to little kids about being Khalifa of Allah, to be a helper to Him. But not to be a helper who has separate power or separate will or separate identity, but to somehow or other help carry out His plan, because His plan seems to be to not carry out the fullness of His plan alone. I mean, if He wanted to make us perfect, He could have just made us perfect. For some reason or other, He wants us to become perfect by choice. Now, when you know, before when I have shown you the number of stars in the universe, this is the known universe, and you remember how I proved that the universe is much larger than this, right? Because this is what we can see, but if the guy at the end of the 15 billion years turns around, he sees another 10,000 billion, and the one after him, he turns around and he sees another 10,000 billion. Plus, Allah has said, I believe, fairly directly in the Quran, that He has had creations before us and will have creations after us. Also, for Allah, creation takes no space and no time. The actual universe itself, I wish I can barely draw in 2 dimensions, let alone 3. This is a 3-dimensional donut with an infinitely small hole in the center. And this is the singularity. And one of the big questions in physics today is the universe going to just like expand outwards, slowing down until it stops, and then contract again? Or will it just go this way for, for infinity? And it is supposed to be determined by how much matter there is in the universe. If there is enough matter to slow the expansion of the universe till it stops, then it would recontract. If it just goes on like this, it would expand forever until every bit of heat and every bit of motion in the universe was gone. And we just had a universe of dead stuff. I would say neither one is correct. That what is really going to be the case, if you can imagine with my bad drawing, the light comes in here, it is going around. Remember, this is not a flat thing. This is like a donut shape. We don't have a donut shape here. This will have to do. So we come out one side in the singularity where there is light. And we don't go around this way, but we go around this way to the other side. So this light then goes through all the stages, right? Going around. And then once it gets halfway, starts and all this time expanding. Once it gets to halfway, it begins contracting. And as it is contracting, it came into existence in a singularity, which another name for this singularity could be a white hole as opposed to a black hole, where space-time and matter come into existence. Goes around from one side of the toroidal shape, or the donut shape, goes around like that, and it doesn't matter how much matter it is, it matters what the geometry is, and this is actually, comes from Einstein's general theory of relativity, that the universe would be like a squashed basketball with an infinitely thin hole in the center, which is a singularity, and goes in, goes around contracting the molecules, the atoms, and the subatomic particles. They end up going the other way, right? So if there are any humans left, the humans, the biological life, the molecules, the atoms, and the subatomic particles, they eventually return to energy and disappear outside of space and time in a black hole on the other side of the singularity. Possibly to, and remember, space, time, and matter ends at that black hole at the singularity. So Allah said, I created the world in time, and I will destroy the world in time. But He didn't say whether or not He's going to create another. When on the black hole on the other side of this torus, which is the end of the universe, the end of space, time, and matter as we know it, there is no reason for Allah to not have a continuous process of creation going on, each one totally separate from the one before, because space, time, and matter comes to an end. So they are not part of one creation. Each one is a separate creation. There is also no reason for Allah not to simultaneously have this happening an infinite number of times. Because from the point of view of Allah, who is outside space, time, and matter, that it takes up no space and no time and no part of Allah's infinite power. It may be, though, here where it gets really hypothetical, that for whatever reason, and I don't want this to sound too much like science fiction to you, that Allah wants a Khalifa to help in this process. And remember, we are then light again. And light sends information from, once we're in paradise, I think we would have existence with light quality, with absolute qualities. And every bit of matter that is in there's 10,000 billion universes, the ones that we can't see, the ones that haven't been created yet, and the ones that have been created in the past, and the possibility of an infinite number of these creations going on at the same time could require, if Allah wanted to do it that way, a virtually infinite number of Khalifa to help manage this process. Because I don't think paradise is just going to be sitting there enjoying ourselves. I think paradise is going to be a productive process.